Dr. Wallach, before we get started, I just got to tell you, this is my favorite part of every week, is getting to talk to you, getting to share your wisdom and, help you spread this message. This team that we have and this army that we've built is incredible. So I'm just excited to get to speak to you every single week. So thank you for being here. Thank you for always taking time for us. I know you said you have something specific you want to share with us before we get started today, or to start us off. So take it away, and thanks again for being here.
Okay, well, thank you for what you're doing, because young people are the future of our country and the future of our world. So we appreciate all you're doing. Thank you so much, Travis. Okay, well, I want to talk about the metabolic syndrome, which covers obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, kidney failure, fatty liver, things like liver cirrhosis. A lot of times there'll be a lot of digestive stuff where people talk about irritable bowel syndrome and celiac disease and colitis and that sort of thing. It's all underneath the metabolic syndrome. A lot of skin issues, eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, rosacea. And these things are all nutritional deficiency diseases. None of them are autoimmune and none of them are genetic. And that should be relief for everybody. None of them are genetic and none of them are autoimmune. Even if you have 5 generations of family with the problem, you don't necessarily have to have it. If you have it, it's easily gotten rid of. And so you have to appreciate that the medical system's view on these diseases is to manage the disease and milk the patient like a dairy cow. Okay. And so instead of getting rid of type 2 diabetes in 2 months, they say, well, yeah, I've been treated for diabetes for 45 years. Well, the doctor got to pay for his kid going to college, got to pay the tuition, and I bought his kid a car for graduation because he was taking your insurance money for 45 years. Okay. So with all that said, and you have a way you can get them the books and CDs and DVDs, right? Or you want me to mention my stuff, or you'll channel them that direction. Okay.
You can mention it though. Go ahead and give out your website.
Okay. Okay. And so at any rate, we're going to talk about the metabolic syndrome, easily gotten rid of, easily prevented. And so we'll start out with the basic premise is that people get on gluten from the moment they're being breastfed. If the mother's eating gluten, it's coming through the breast milk. Once they start eating solid food, they start eating maybe some oatmeal or some cream of wheat kind of thing. A little bit of that, and then they eat some noodles, and they'll have some spaghetti, and they'll have some French toast, and pancakes and waffles, and so on, and pizza crust, and so on. It's all made from gluten. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, bran, and oats, and secretes a substance called pro-inflammatory cytokines. These cytokines actually destroy the villi in your intestine and cause the villi to go away over time. It's not like they just shut off a switch and tomorrow your villi are gone. It might take 3, 4, 5 years for them to be completely gone. So instead of your intestine looking like a shag rug when you open it up, it looks like a plastic tube. And so even if you're supplementing, when your intestine's a plastic tube, because you've been eating gluten for 15, 20 years or more, you're not getting much. And as a result, you're getting all these nutritional deficiency diseases, which doctors call metabolic syndrome. They'll call it things like or genetic, kind of things, and it'll be autoimmune and so forth, because they either don't know what causes it or there's no money in treating it to cure it. Okay. And so you have to ask the doctor, say, I want a choice here. I want you to give me what you're going to do to manage my disease. I want you to give me what you would do to cure it. And they'll say, well, there's no cure for it. Okay, well, I apologize, but I'm going to find another doctor. Okay, because there is a cure and prevention. Let's start out with obesity. 40% of Americans are obese. Obesity is actually caused by a deficiency of a couple of nutrients. And their symptom, when you're deficient in them, is a behavior called pica, P-I-C-A, where you just can't stop eating. Frank, you just had a 5,000 calorie breakfast here, and you're still eating. I don't know why, I'm just still hungry. Well, that's because you have pica, because you're deficient in those nutrients. And that's why you see horses eating the top rail of their stall in the barn. They have pica. Okay, they call it cribbing, because babies, when they have pica, when they came out with these baby formulas, only had 3 minerals in them. You need 60 minerals, they only have 3 minerals in them. So the babies are minerally deficient. So they chew on that rail of the crib and they call it cribbing. Well, when horses chew that top rail in their stall, they call it cribbing. Okay, same principle. It's deficiencies. And so this is all caused by nutritional deficiencies, being overweight. And we have the healthy weight loss pack. And then we have also the keto caramel bars. And so I like people to get on, one healthy weight loss pack per 100 pounds of body weight. And I started out with one keto bar meal per day, 7 days out of the week, 7 bars a week. Okay, one at breakfast or one at lunch, or it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be the same meal every day. And then after about a month or so, 2 months, 3 months, try 2 days a week, not all 7 days, but 2 days a week. Try 2 meals a day, a keto caramel bar, and the other 5 meals, you still stay with one. Okay. And the meals that you're not eating the keto bar, I want you to eat like an Asian, eat rice and sweet potatoes and beans and squash and seaweed, and you'll begin to lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a day. So if you're 60 pounds overweight, you could realistically lose that in 1 month or certainly 2 months. Well, my doctor said I need to have half my intestines amputated. Well, give me 90 days first. Let's try this first before you let them cut your intestines out. Yeah, he wants to cut my duodenum out and my ileum out. And okay, well, that's because tuitions do. It's college time, right? And so give me 90 days before you make those drastic things. Then diabetes is very simple nutritional deficiencies. There's 2 different nutritional deficiencies that can cause diabetes. Either one by themselves, where you get really bad, brittle diabetes, where you really, really have a bad case of diabetes, you're deficient in both those nutrients. And you're the person who's going to go blind and get your feet amputated and all that kind of stuff, because these nutritional deficiencies, in addition to causing diabetes, they have other complications and side effects. And so then when you have type 2 diabetes, you want to, which makes up 98% of the diabetic population, you want to get on if you have other issues, let's say you have 6 different diseases, you got arthritis, you got high blood pressure. I would go with the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack and throw in the sweeties 2 times a day, 2 times a day, it'd be 2 bottles a month. Okay, and then don't cold turkey off your diabetes medication, but as your blood sugar begins to come down, because you're supposed to test yourself regularly, as your blood sugar comes down, you can reduce your medication based on the numbers, as opposed to just cold turkey off your medication. Don't do that. Usually within 2 weeks to 6 weeks, you won't be a diabetic anymore. But you have to get rid of all the bad stuff: no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no gluten, no wheat, brown rhinos, no sugar, no carbonated drinks, so you can heal your intestines, those villi will grow back so you can absorb the nutrition. And then there's hypertension. High blood pressure is also caused by nutritional deficiency. And so in addition to taking the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, all the stuff you need to deal with all your other issues, we have what we call the Healthy Ultimate Daily Classic Tablets. Take 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight. And the blood pressure slowly comes down because it's designed to support healthy blood pressure and healthy blood flow through blocked arteries. Ultimate Daily Classic Tablets. And so in the beginning, you might be taking the sweeties and the Healthy Weight Loss Pack and the Ultimate Daily Classic Tablets. But as these diseases go away, you can cut them down to half what you took when they had the disease. When the disease is gone, you cut it down to half for maintenance. Okay. You just can't go to 0, because within 6 months or a year, you'll be back to where you were. Okay. And then things like congestive heart failure. So you certainly don't want to cold turkey off that medication, but congestive heart failure is caused by deficiency of a single nutrient. Now, you can have 3 different heart diseases at the same time, but congestive heart failure is caused by deficiency of a single nutrient. So you need to throw in, no matter what else you're taking, you also want to throw in our de-stress capsules. Take 3 of those twice a day per 100 pounds of body weight, and that will help the congestive heart failure resolve itself. And then if you have hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease, which is a very common disease right now, it's a complication in teenagers, and 500 young athletes die each year in America from this hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease. Dr. Milan and I went to China, and we did 1,700 autopsies on kids under the age of 10 that had died of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease in Heilongjiang province, China, at Qishan University. It's called Qishan disease. And we wrote a paper. It was in 3 languages. And we used that to put a lawsuit on the FDA in federal court, which we prevailed and won. And we forced them to put that nutrient into baby formulas. And by doing so, getting on the 90 essential nutrients, which extra that nutrient, we're able to get rid of let's see here, cribbing, obesity. We were able to get rid of, let's see here, we got rid of cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis thought to be a genetic birth defect. We got rid of muscular dystrophy. We gave Jerry Lewis the information. He was so excited. He took it to the Muscular Dystrophy Association. They fired him before he even walked out the door. Okay, and after the next year, there was no more telethon. You don't hear much about the Muscular Dystrophy Association anymore because we got rid of the disease by putting that nutrient into the formula. And so they didn't get credit for it because they fired Jerry Lewis. Okay, and then we got rid of sudden death syndrome. 98% of the babies that died of sudden death syndrome were not in the bed with their mother when they died. They died of this hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease. Only 2% were in the bed with their mother when they died, but they weren't laid on by their mother. They just died of that heart disease. And doctors, not knowing about the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease, said, well, we'll just blame the mother because we can't admit we don't know what it is. And so that's why they went that direction. Well, the mother laid on the baby. No, the baby was deficient in these nutrients because they weren't put in the formula until April 16, 2013, was ordered by a federal court to be put into the formula. And then a year and a half later, all the newspapers around the world saying, we don't know why, but sudden death syndrome has disappeared, has vanished in our state, has vanished in this country. Well, that's because we forced them through a federal court order to put these nutrients in the baby formulas. So I urge you to get a hold of the books. Let's see here, Metabolic Syndrome. We're talking about Hell's Kitchen, the book and the CD goes into this in great detail. You want to go to the quartet of books, 4 books. It's Let's Play Doctor, Let's Play Herbal Doctor, Passport Aromatherapy. It's all in your head. They go through over 300 different diseases and how to diagnose them and how to deal with them using nutrition. And of course, epigenetics. And there's a CD set that goes along with it, epigenetics. And as well, the death of the genetic theory of disease transmission. I'm considered one of the 2 fathers of that science. Replaces genetics. And then immortality. Okay, immortality goes through what people who are long lived consciously avoid and what they consciously do. Also, the book and the CD, Black Gene Lies, if you're a person of color, whether you're Black or you're Latino, okay, you're Native American, you want to get a hold of that book and CD, Black Gene Lies, so that you know what to do to get rid of these diseases. They are not genetic and they are not autoimmune. Here in America, let's see, we give up 76 years. We give up 76 years of life. If you just eat the standard American diet and listen to your doctor, you're going to die at an average of 79 right now is the average life expectancy of Americans. But you have the life expectancy of 155, according to the government, just a few weeks ago. So you subtract 79 from 155, it's 76 years you're giving up. I want to add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life at least. But if you do everything right, diet-wise, supplement-wise, you can gain 76 years of longevity. Okay, this is simple science. Okay, if you're tired of being around, just eat like everybody else and don't supplement. But if you want to add at least 25 to 50 healthy years to your life and maybe 76 healthy years, you got to get rid of all the bad foods, take your 90 essential nutrients. And if you have any pre-existing conditions, take the secret sauces for each one of them. And that's why these books and CDs were done, to make sure you had the information. Everybody has equal access. Okay, so with that, Travis, it's back to you, and we can go to what you want to talk about today.
Well, I have to say, Doc, that was incredible. I was thinking about things I wanted to ask about before we got on, and I had notes and you already covered all of them. So I'm not even sure what to do from here. So thank you for touching on that. The one thing that really stood out to me from last week to this week is you said something, everything you say is profound, but you said something that really stood out to me. And that thing is that pre-existing conditions are just chronic deficiencies.
That's correct.
And I think that everything that you just said really exemplifies that in a nutshell. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off. We have someone named KT here on the call with us. I want to pass it over to, I don't know if it's a him or a her, but whichever one you are, please unmute and ask your question to Doc.
Hi, Dr. Wallace. This is KT. I go by she, her, hers. And I have had a very unique, interesting symptom that has stumped my doctors. I've had a sulfuric taste in my mouth when I eat, and they have no idea what could be causing it. They've never heard of that happening before. So I thought, maybe Dr. Wallach has something up his sleeve and knows what that could be caused from.
Okay, now, do you eat specific foods that this happens with, or every time you eat, no matter what you eat?
Every time I eat, no matter what I eat. Sometimes when I'm drinking water, I taste it too. Seems to be coming from the back of my throat.
Okay, now tell me how old you are.
I'm 31.
And how much you weigh?
130 pounds.
Okay, and let's see, how tall are you?
5'6".
All right, do you have any other issues? Do you have any bowel problems, constipation, diarrhea, irritable bowel syndrome, anything like that?
No.
Okay, do you have any skin problems, any eczema, dermatitis, psoriasis, or rosacea?
I actually just started getting some dry patches on my arms, and I don't normally ever have that.
Okay.
I did just move to Colorado last year, and it's a lot drier of a climate.
Okay. All right. So let's see here. Do you have any gray hair or white hair?
Like just a tiny bit.
Okay. The answer is yes. I don't care if you have only one gray hair, you have gray hair.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any spider veins or varicose veins?
I have just like a little on the inside of my feet.
Okay.
Like
and the answer is yes. Yes. Okay. Do you have any hemorrhoids, which are varicose veins in a funny place?
Yes.
Okay. We're getting closer here. Now, do you have any diabetes or high blood pressure?
No.
Okay. Do you have any hiccups? You ever get any hiccups?
Not common, no.
Okay.
I mean,
okay, good.
But
okay. Do you have an irregular heartbeat or a fast heart rate?
It's pretty steady and normal.
Okay. And then, let's see, have you lost your sense of smell or taste?
No.
Okay. Did you just get this sulfur taste in your mouth just after you moved to Colorado, or was it before there also?
No, I've been here for about a year, and this started a month ago.
Okay. Do you have any tinnitus or ringing in your ears or whooshing sounds or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Do you have anything, balance problems, vertigo or dizziness or balance?
No.
Okay. Do you have anything going on in your wrists and your hands? Anything, numbness, tingling, burning, pain?
I dislocated my left wrist about 3 months ago and got it put back in place by the chiropractor, but it's still been,
Okay.
it can't carry much weight.
Okay. Well, one more question.
Okay.
Let's see here. Are you taking supplements now?
Just my normal vitamins.
I'm sorry.
And I take like a herbal wellness tincture. An herbal wellness tincture. And
okay. Now, is that made? Okay. Now, is that herbal tincture, is that made from well water or tap water, or is it just oils?
When you look at the bottle, it's sold over the counter at like Whole Foods and Sprouts. It's by Source Naturals.
Okay. Yeah. Well, sometimes natural can be very dangerous. Okay. So what I'd recommend is, since this has just been going on for a month and you've been in Colorado for how long now? A year? Yeah. And so it's just been, okay. So it's something in your environment there. So what I would do is give up all the supplements you're taking, including the herbal stuff and tinctures and so on, because there's something in one of them, or the well water or water source, is causing this taste. Okay. It could be also you have something going on in your skull, squeezing the cranial nerves that control taste, and causing that because your nerves being squeezed because you just have some osteoporosis of the skull. Have you lost your sense of smell or taste?
No.
Okay. Let's see here. Are you losing any vision?
No.
Okay, good. All right. So yeah, so I would just sort of say, okay, clear the decks, get rid of all the stuff you're taking. And at 133 pounds, I'd get on one healthy brain and heart pack.
Get
and,
one? What?
One healthy brain and heart pack.
Okay.
Travis knows this, and he'll make sure you get it properly. So I'd rather have you listen than ask me things 3 times. Okay.
Okay.
So one healthy brain and heart pack. I want you to get another bottle of our selenium, not from Walgreens or the health food store. Ours has 5 cofactors in it you need, because you have the gray hair and you have the veins, which are caused by nutritional deficiency. This is not caused by aging. This is nutritional deficiencies. And so I want you to get an extra bottle of our selenium, so you can take 3 of those twice a day. And I want you to get a bottle of our MSM, so you can take 3 of those twice a day. And those are going to support and promote maintenance, repair, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, bone rakes, bone itself. Because I want to, you may have the beginnings of this osteoporosis of the skull and so on. You definitely got things going on in your hands, which are caused by osteoporosis and arthritis, all that kind of stuff, which are really just simple nutritional deficiency diseases. I also want you to take our collagen, take our glucogel. You can take 5 of those twice a day. That's 2 bottles a month. And lastly, I want you to take our Fucoid Z. Fucoid Z, take 3 of those capsules twice a day. It's 2 bottles a month. And they are a collection of 8 or 9 different algae from the ocean, algae and that sort of stuff, seaweed and algae. And they're full of trace minerals. They're going to help all your tissues, including your skull, and your brain and all that kind of stuff. Are you a vegetarian?
No.
Okay. Do you eat eggs?
Yes.
Okay, good. I want you to eat 3 eggs twice a day, but soft yolks. Fried eggs will cause cancer. Hard-boiled eggs aren't useful. They're a source of protein, but that's it. I want you to have your eggs soft-boiled, soft yolks, soft poached, soft yolks, or soft scrambled in butter. Okay. I want you to have 3 twice a day. And then call me or get on the Zoom every couple of weeks with Travis here and give me a report, because your testimony is going to have a great story. Okay.
Okay, cool. One last thing. I was wondering if I do drink filtered water from my refrigerator, and I changed the filter a few months ago, and I don't know if that could be causing it. Should I change the type of water I'm drinking?
Yeah, that won't hurt to change the water. We have a water from Iceland. If you want to get our bottled water also, it's called Icelandic water. But you do want to get, I would get some source of good quality bottled mineral water. Okay, it's not carbonated. Ours is called Icelandic water. And we sell it to you wholesale. I don't know how to get any better than that. And if you get on auto ship, I'll pay the shipping. So you won't have to pay for all that heavy water.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
You bet. You bet. Okay, Travis.
What a question, KT. Thank you so much for sharing that and listening to Doc and everything. If you send me your email or your phone number, I will text you the recording to this. That goes for everyone on the call, whether you're on Instagram or on Zoom. If you want to get the recording, just text me or email me or message me on Instagram. So I want to follow this up because, Doc, that was impressive. I don't know how you keep all these things together and remember all of this. So how does someone stay so sharp? What is it that, I know you've done everything right for so many years, but what can we do to help short-term memory and long-term memory so that we can keep information and bring stuff up and help people like you do?
Okay, well, thank you. Well, your brain, like your liver and your heart and your lungs and your muscles and your bones, requires 90 essential nutrients. Okay. And so it's one of those things where 75% of your brain weight is cholesterol. It makes up the myelin, the white matter of the brain, is cholesterol. So if you go on a cholesterol restricted diet, or you get on statin drugs to lower your cholesterol, you're in trouble. Okay. And again, I've been gluten-free for 74 years. I've been taking the 90 essential nutrients for 74 years. Never miss in 74 years. I just turned 82, a couple of days ago, and I don't have any pre-existing conditions. I don't have any of these metabolic syndromes or anything like that, because I've been eating my 3 eggs twice a day since I was a little kid, living on the farm. And we didn't have electricity till I was 9 years old. That's how primitive I am. Okay, but that's a good question. But you have to be really, really attentive stay away from the bad stuff. I do have a glass of red wine every night since I was like 4 years old. When I was 4 years old, they didn't give me a glass of red wine, but they gave me a little shot glass of red wine because my grandma had a little vineyard on the farm and made red wine. Everybody back in those days made their own red wine. And so I get a little shot glass full of red wine when I was a little kid. And by the time I was in high school, I'd have a glass of red wine at night before going to bed. And I played sports. I wrestled and played football in junior high school and high school and University of Missouri. And I got lettered in both sports and junior high and high school. In Missouri, the University of Missouri, they wouldn't let me play football because I only weighed 110 pounds, but I did wrestle and got lettered for 4 years in wrestling at the University of Missouri. But that's on this diet, and never had an injury, never had anything going on because I was strong. I had my exercise for throwing bales of hay around and so on. And, hoeing gardens and pulling weeds and all that kind of stuff, and chopping wood and bringing in wood and taking out buckets of ashes and throwing them in the garden. So I've been living kind of a nutritionally idyllic life, and it pays. Again, I'm doing all this stuff on longevity, and just the government came out just a couple of weeks ago and said the life expectancy for all human beings is 155, and for Americans it's 79. So we're giving up 76 years because people are not following the rules, and they're eating bad foods. They're eating gluten at every meal and snack. They have their pretzels with their beer, their fried potatoes, fried French fried potato chips, and they're eating pancakes and waffles and spaghetti and chicken noodle soup. I have chicken rice soup. I have pizza 3 nights a week, but I have the cauliflower and rice flour crust. 4 cheeses, 8 or 10 vegetables, and then this morning on my pizza, I had 2 hamburger patties. We just get the raw ground beef and make our own hamburgers, so we know they're not putting flour or something in the hamburger ground up meat. And so every Saturday night I have Australian lamb chops. I have steak 2 nights a week. 2 nights a week I have some more of those gluten-free pizzas, and I do have some roast chicken 2 nights a week. And so I do pretty good. And of course I eat oranges from our trees. We live on 5 acres, and we have about 10 different fruit trees. Oranges, pomegranates, pears, bananas. We have grapes. We grow our own grapes, and I have a garden with about I'd say 10 different vegetables in it. Okay, and so we're kind of busy with that, plus doing all the things we do for longevity, and it's what should I say? It's a wonder, because we can show people if you do everything right, you can gain 25 to 50 years in healthful living. The last time I was at a doctor was about it's got to be, I would say, 10 years ago. I fell into a hole in a construction site up in Canada and got punctured by some rebar and stuff that they had thrown in this hole, and had terrible infections in that one foot. They wanted to amputate my foot, and I told them to go to where. And I gave myself some intravenous antibiotics and got on more of our products. And sure enough, I have my foot still today. Okay, and of course the doctors who wanted to amputate my foot are all dead, because they would have been 79 by now. Okay.
That's a that's a heck of a story. I had no idea that you had an injury that bad. I knew about the fight. You had told us about getting knocking that guy's teeth out, but I didn't know he had stepped on some rebar. That's crazy. So one of
it was in the middle of the night. It was dark, and we'd done that for many years, but they put a hole in a place where we had been walking for years, and they didn't put a fence around the hole or a flag or anything, and it was no moon, so we were just walking through this pasture and found the hole.
Oh man, that's not the way you want to lose your foot.
No.
Especially after doing everything right for so long. So I am going to go ahead and ask you, because this is something we talked about before the recording, is we're talking about how hot it is right now, and the heat wave that's going on in the Southwest in America, and the drought. So what would you recommend for staying hydrated and just being as sufficient as possible, just in vitamins and minerals and water? How do you keep up with all that?
Okay, well, you're exactly right. And of course, Siri gives me the temperature, the high, expected high today and everything. So I get my, every day I know exactly what the temperature is going to be and so on. But what I do, and being a farmer, I drink, I drink a lot of water, but I also drink our Rebound. I drink 2 cans of the Rebound a day before 3 o'clock, which has 75 minerals in it. It's not just water, but I make all my liquids and my powders I put in the liquids, I do in our Icelandic water, which is a mineral water from the Icelandic island. Okay. And I wear short sleeve shirts. Which I say, I do stay in the shade unless I do take sun a half hour each day, even when it's cool, even when it's maybe 60 degrees outside, if there's no real wind or raining or anything like that, 60 degrees, I'll take my shirt off and sit out in the sun for a half hour, say 2-3 days a week. So I get some sunshine, so I'm not white as a piece of typing paper. And so, so that's why I look brown, because I take my sun, SUN, out and deal with that 2-3 days a week and get my vitamin D3 that way. But I also take my vitamin D3 capsules 3 times a day. So, but I do also eat fruit. I'll have a banana with breakfast and an orange at dinner time, or sometimes I'll have an orange twice a day, depending on how many we have. We don't want them to go bad. And I do have, in addition to that, 1 glass of red wine at dinner, I also have 1/3 of a pint of gluten-free ice cream every night. And I like Rocky Road, it's gluten-free. I also like the berry, let's see, it's vanilla chocolate, berry, let's see here, mushrooms, okay. I also like the green tea ice cream. They're all gluten-free. And so I'll have 1/3, and that gives me more milk, okay, because it's milk. And so it's not just slamming down a glass of milk, but I'm getting milk, in a fun way. And so, the grandkids think it's great. The grandpa's having some ice cream with them, but it's gluten-free ice cream, because a lot of time they'll put flour in ice cream to thicken it and so forth. And so you got to read the labels very carefully when it comes to ingredients. Even though they say it's gluten-free, I still read it. I want to make sure they haven't put any, quote, gluten-free oats in there, unquote, because there are no such things. But some companies still follow that. And let's see here, I'm trying to think what else. Oh, I do eat the grapes. And then maybe one meal, if I'm in a hurry, 1 meal a week, I'll have one of those keto caramel bars. I don't need to lose any weight, but I'll have 1 meal. That's kind of my test of one of my products. I'll just have a meal maybe once a week, maybe a quick lunch because I got things to do. I have maybe 4 Zooms in a day and 2 hours of radio. I don't have time to sit down for an hour and eat. So I'll grab a quick keto caramel bar, which is a mixture of chocolate and other things that do not contain gluten. Okay, very proud of that. And so that's, it's kind of staying on things, doing everything right, staying away from the bad stuff is equally as important as staying on the good stuff. And that's why I like the book Immortality and the CD Beyond Immortality, because it goes into these cultures whose average lifespan is 160. Okay, the Hunzas between Pakistan and China, they live near this Giltar Glacier, which grinds up all the rocks in the canyon. They're drinking it and cooking with it and putting it in their gardens and in their fields and everything. And there's people, who are super centenarians. I'd like everybody in America to be super centenarians, or 110 years of age and older. If you want to have some fun, just go ask Siri, who are the super centenarians in America right now? What's their names? Where do they live? Okay, and there's probably about 100 super centenarians, people over 110, scattered around the United States. Okay, and it's not a genetic thing. It's the fact that they've been avoiding the bad stuff and doing all the good stuff.
That's great. I mean, we just keep doing what we're already doing. If you're here
That's
listening
correct.
to this, you're probably doing most of it right to keep on top of your hydration and your health and all of that. So I got a question in the chat on the Zoom here. And the question is, how do you prevent wrinkles? And what are your thoughts on Botox?
Okay. Well, I'll start out with the wrinkle thing. Wrinkles are caused by a breakdown of the elastic fibers in your skin. It's not an aging thing, but it's a nutritional deficiency. It's caused by the same deficiency that causes gray hair varicose veins, spider veins, and hemorrhoids and aneurysms. So, you know, I'm 82 years old. I don't have many wrinkles for 82. Most people think I'm in my 50s when they look at me. That's because I've been taking these things forever. And so I'm getting those nutrients that provide your skin with what it needs. Okay. Botox, I don't like that because they're injecting a poison into you to poison the skin so the skin reacts and tightens up. Okay. That's kind of I don't like that as a way of, because you got to keep doing it because it doesn't fix the problem. It just gives you a temporary relief before you go to the party, so to speak. Okay. And so I like to use our supplement program with those nutrients in it. We have a product called Hair, Skin, and Nails, which I also use 3 of those twice a day in my supplement program, Hair, Skin, and Nails, in addition to all these other products that have these nutrients in them that give the skin what it needs. Your skin is made from connective tissue, just like tendons and ligaments. That's why people who have arthritis and joint problems and they have osteoporosis, they also have a lot of wrinkles and saggy, baggy skin. And I don't have any, at least not much saggy, baggy skin. Okay. And I don't have varicose veins because I've been taking all these nutrients. So my skin's getting what it needs to keep the connective tissue of the skin happy. The elastic fibers, which kind of hold things together, are at their peak performance because they're getting the nutrition they need to do that. And so it's a matter of giving yourself every tissue, every cell, every tissue, every organ, and your skin is an organ, requires nutrients, all 90 essential nutrients. And some organs require more because, for instance, your liver requires a lot of nutrition because it does 40 different things. Your heart requires a lot of nutrition because it does 100 different things, right? And your muscles require more nutrition, and so because it does many things. Your bone marrow produces white blood cells, red blood cells, platelets, and antibodies, and also it makes connective tissue and stuff. And so you don't want to have a doctor say, you know, you've got bone marrow dysplasia, and we're going to give you a bone marrow transplant. That means you're doing something wrong there because you're not absorbing or not supplementing with or absorbing the nutrients you need to maintain your bone marrow, which is your immune system, as well as for your blood tissue. If you're having to get an iron shot and a B12 shot every week or every month, you're in trouble because your bone marrow is dying. Okay. You got to get off the gluten, take the 90 essential nutrients. Okay. And all the problems go away. You don't need a bone marrow transplant. You need to change your diet and take your supplements.
That's it, right? Change the diet. Are people willing to do that though? That's always the big question when we're meeting new people, right? So I have another question from the chat. How dangerous is cancer surgery and chemotherapy? This person says he has family members going through this and wants to kind of get your take.
Okay, well, remember the purpose of chemotherapy and radiation, cancer therapies are to kill tissue. It kills healthy tissue as well as killing cancer tissue. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you have to ask the doctor, is this going to cure me? Or they'll say, well, we can't guarantee that, but you know, we're trying to give you some more time here. Okay. I've had people who say, I'm not going to do chemotherapy or radiation. I've had some very, very famous people who were told they had literally weeks to live and they didn't want to do chemotherapy and radiation. And so we gave them a diet, we gave them a program, and they lived another 3, 5, 8, 10, 12, 15, 20 years, depending on how severe, you know, whether it's stage 5 or stage 4 or stage 3. And so, but we did give them more than the 2 weeks they were told if they were going to die if they didn't get chemotherapy and radiation. We gave them another 3 years or 5 years or 10 years or so, and very comfortable and healthy and happy. Okay. And so it comes down to, we can't guarantee a cure of cancer, but we can sure support your immune system, which is your best friend when you have cancer. Okay. And if you choose to also do chemotherapy and radiation, well, that's your choice. You need to understand it, have them give you all the information from all the research, you know, what kind of side effects you expect. What percentage of people who get this chemotherapy treatment survive the treatment? How many get their lifespan extended farther than the doctors predict? Okay, so that's what you need to ask the doctor. If he can't answer it, then don't take the treatment.
Right, it's probably not many that get that extended, that prolonged time without the support of the immune system, getting in the 90, changing the diet, getting the Z radical and such to really support the immune system.
That is
I just
correct.
got another question. This is actually Gracie. She lives in Australia, I believe. She's part of Longevity Nation. She says, a friend of mine had breast augmentation implants last year who feels it may be upsetting her immune system. Apart from being gluten-free and taking the 90 essential nutrients, is there anything else she should be taking?
Yeah, she should be taking the Xerafem. Okay, she can also take the vitamin D3. She can take the MSM. Okay, she can take the hair, skin, and nails. And these things will all help with the skin, the breast tissue. And she needs to eat 3 eggs twice a day with soft yolks because estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, all 3 of those hormones are 95% by weight cholesterol. Don't take any statin drugs to lower your cholesterol because that will be a negative for you. Okay. Cholesterol does not cause plaque in the arteries. That's how doctors defended themselves when they gave you statin drugs and caused Alzheimer's disease. And they told you, to stop, or we're going to give you statin drugs because you have plaque in your arteries, and people will get all these other diseases. Okay. Plaque is caused by fried foods and salad dressings and cooking oils and French fries and potato chips and hash brown potatoes and that kind of stuff.
And we know that, and we know how true that is, but it's such a different perspective than what has been shoved down our throats for so long. I loved that in some of your presentations when you traveled before, you would have the Time magazine article covers talking with the picture of the egg or the picture of the butter or the whatever it was, and it's like cholesterol good, cholesterol bad, cholesterol good, cholesterol bad. It's like, let's get it together, let's figure it out, let's tell the right story so that we can help people truly get better and understand what they need to be doing, because there's still a major fight on the internet and the health and wellness space about if oil's good, if oil's bad, if butter's good, if butter's bad. And we know who's done the studies, we know who's done the research, but some people just don't want to listen.
Okay, well, here's some questions. Here's how I look at things. And so, Travis, I'm kind of a pathologist kind of guy, and I always like to get down into the thing here. And so I say, okay, what is the most common food amongst all species of vertebrates, whether they're whales or porpoises or dolphins or giraffe or elephants, buffalo, human beings, wombats, kangaroos, dogs, cats, birds, fish? Oh, not fish, because they're not mammals. Okay. What about things like any kind of mammal you can think of? Wild sheep, you name it. Okay. Platypuses and so forth. What's going on here? Okay, well, what's their first food when they're a baby, when they're first born? Mother's milk.
Milk. Oh, okay.
Milk is the perfect diet. It has all nutrients in it. Okay. And the minerals in the milk will be the best the mom can do based on what minerals she's getting in her food. But everything else, the essential fatty acids, the amino acids, and so forth, milk is supposed to be the perfect food. Okay. And so it's universal. Every mammal vertebrate, okay, has milk as their diet. And so butter was a way that they preserved milk because they didn't have refrigeration in the old days. Cheese was a way that they preserved milk because they didn't have refrigerator in the old days. And so if people say, I want to be a vegetarian, I want to be a vegetarian. Is there a safe way to do it? Well, if you're an ovo-lacto vegetarian, if you're eating eggs and eating dairy and taking your supplements, you could do it. An ovo-lacto vegetarian, don't fry your food. Use our pink Himalayan salt. It'll be safe. It'll be good. You can live to be 120. Okay, but if you just eat vegetables and grains, you're going to die soon. You won't live to be 79. Okay, and you'll be miserable between now and then. Whenever you die, you're going to have 25 different diseases. Well, my doctor says it's genetic. No, it's because you're a vegetarian who are not supplementing and not taking milk and salt and all that kind of stuff. My doctor says salt is bad. Well, salt has 2 essential nutrients in it, sodium and chloride. when salt became bad, people were getting edema in their legs, and they would take them off of salt, and they would lose that edema in their legs. It was kind of a treatment to cut the salt. And then people just got into, well, my doctor says salt is bad. My doctor says salt is bad. All through the Bible days, if somebody did a good job, they were good and they followed, God's laws, they were the salt of the earth. The best people on earth, the best kings, the best generals, the best doctors were the salt of the earth. Okay. Salt is your best friend. Salt is not your enemy. And so if you have any gluten, box it up and give it to your doctor. If you have any salt substitute, box it up and give it to your doctor. Okay. If you have anything in your house that's made out of gluten, box it up and give it to your doctor. Well, I've got a 6-month supply. Donate it to your doctor. Write it off your taxes. Okay. Put it in your business plan for your longevity business. Okay. That way you get to deduct anything you give away for somebody. Okay. As advertisement for your business. Do not eat 6 months supply of gluten because you have it in your cupboard. Give it to your doctor with love, just like 007, to Russia with love, to doctor with love. Give him your gluten. Say, please, please, please take this. Oh, by the way, here's also my statin drugs. Please, I don't want to throw them away. I don't want to take them. And rather than throw them away, I love you so much, I want you to take them. He'll just jerk them out of your hand because he's either going to take them himself or give it to somebody who he's going to charge money for them.
Oh man, if only we could create a system where we could get all of our team and all of our Longevity Nation to just box up their stuff and do deliveries to doctors' offices with baked goods and statin drugs and all of that really good, fun stuff, right?
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you one more question about someone a couple of people I've met in the last couple of weeks. And then I have a nice question I want to end it with. So can you talk a little bit about multiple sclerosis, MS? I feel like I'm seeing a lot and meeting a lot of people who are getting MS diagnosis. And
okay.
I don't know how to respond.
Okay. Well, MS, there's, connective tissue buildup in the brain. Okay. Sclerosis. Okay. That's connective tissue. Also, they're probably on a gluten-free diet. No, excuse me. They're not on a gluten-free diet. They're not on a gluten-free diet. Also, they're not eating cholesterol. So they're not making new myelin to maintain the brain. Okay, so they're giving up eggs and dairy and all that kind of stuff, but they're eating the fried foods, which cause the inflammation of the brain. And they're not taking complete, they may be taking Centrum or something like that with 27 nutrients in it. That's not even a third of the 90. Okay, well, I take vitamins. My doctor gives me a B vitamin shot every time I go there once a year. Oh, okay. You got to be, more aggressive than that. But MS, Parkinson's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, all those diseases are the same disease. They're just different symptoms because they're more, by chance, more severe in some locations of the brain. Okay. And so you get on anybody with those diseases, you get off all the bad stuff, no fried foods, no processed meats, no oils, no glutens, no wheat, no sugar, no carbonated drinks. And you take your 3 eggs twice a day, you get on your Healthy Brain and Heart Pack, you get on your MSM, you get on your de-stress capsules, you get on your Synaptive, take the Synaptive so your brain cells can talk to each other. Take the Fucoid Z, the anti-inflammatory stuff, Cell Shield RTQ, and the inflammation of the brain goes away, and MS and all these other brain diseases go away. Okay, I've had people who are in comas with, quote, Alzheimer's disease in a coma for 8 years. We did this through their G-tube. In 3 days' time, they wake up and go back to work. After 8 years of being in a coma, because the doctor said they were being fed these Ensure things through their G-tubes, which are nothing but oil, we just put them on eggs and our products 3 times a day. And in 3 days' time, they were perfectly normal after 8 years of being in a coma with, quote, Alzheimer's disease, unquote. Okay.
That's so incredible. I had something else in mind, but you actually spoke about this on Tom's call. There was someone that you worked with Linda Tyler, that something kind of similar happened. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that's Pastor Mike Freeman up in Baltimore, Maryland. And he went into a coma. I don't even remember why, but he went into a coma. And he was in a coma for almost 6 months. And the doctors, told his wife, look, this is coming to a close here. He has less than 2 weeks to live. If you want, we can just pull the plug now and he'll be gone by tomorrow. But if, we just keep giving him his IVs, he may live another week or two. That's it. Over. So Linda calls me, Linda Tyler from Baltimore. And I had lectured at his church many years earlier. And so he had a studio, and he was giving, sermons to the world through his studio and his church and so on. And so she asked me, is there anything that can be done? I said, does he have a G2? We can put stuff through there. She says, no. I said, okay, well, the only thing I can recommend is take our plain plant minerals, get the car of plant minerals. And I want 3 times a day to rub a half a cup of our plant minerals on his skin, on his back and on his legs, 3 times a day. Okay, with a half a cup. So it's a cup and a half, okay, a day. I don't know if this is going to be enough, but let's give it a try. So they did. Pastor Mike's wife and Linda rubbed it on him 3 times a day. And at the 3rd day, he wakes up and goes down to the studio, and he starts telling the world about this. And he told me about it. So I flew there, and we made a CD and a DVD called Praise the Lord and Pass the 90. Praise the Lord and pass the 90. Just like if you're in the military and you're in a battle, you're being shot at, you want to ask the God for help. You want to ask God for help, but you still have to protect yourself and beat back the enemy. So praise the Lord and give him all your prayers and love, but also pass me the ammunition so I can defend myself. Well, the same thing is true here. To praise the Lord, but pass the 90. And so we sell a lot of those DVDs and CDs. We have it in a DVD form and a CD, both. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. Oh, praise the Lord and pass the 90.
I'm gonna have to get my hands on one of those. My cart on your website is huge right now, so I'm gonna have to let the wife convince me to buy all this stuff at once. So my last thing, we're bad out of time, and you've shared a ton of amazing stories with us. But I would like to know, what's your favorite thing to talk about or teach about? Maybe something you don't get to share as much as you might like.
Well, the favorite thing I like to teach about is that there are no genetic diseases. There are no autoimmune diseases. And that's why we came up with the book, Dead Doctors Don't Lie. That's why we came up with the CD, Dead Athletes Don't Lie. That's why, because people say, well, I exercise. I don't need a supplement. I eat good and I exercise. Well, the average lifespan of a professional athlete who's getting paid millions of dollars a game is 62, except for basketball players is 51. Okay, and 500 young athletes who are in college and Olympics and stuff like that, Olympic training, die each year from this hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease. Exercise is supposed to be good for you. Well, if you're not supplementing, you're eating bad foods, exercise, you might as well shoot yourself in the head. Okay, so I like to get that information out there because we're protecting the young people as much as we can. Exercise is good. I exercise, but I take all my supplements. I avoid all the bad foods. And it's one of those things where, I want to keep toned up. And so I walk a mile in the morning, say about a half hour after breakfast. And I walked in between my end of my 2 o'clock radio station, from 1 to 2. And so 2:30, I had a little snack in there. I had 3 of those little Baby Bell cheeses and some of my liquid stuff. And so I walked another mile. I do that twice a day. And then I do 20 push-ups. I'm gonna start doing 20 push-ups twice a day. And not bad for 82 years old. And but I've been doing them all my life. And so this is my favorite thing, is that eating well, okay, and exercising is your worst enemy. If you eat well and exercise and take all the 90 essential nutrients and use our sports drink, then you're in good shape. Then you're going to maximize your health, your production, your life, and your well-being. So I don't know that many people get that all the time when I talk about it. Mm-hmm. Okay, because it might go in one ear and out the other. How important that is, because their doctors telling them to exercise, or coaches telling them to exercise, but they're not telling them to take the 90. They say, oh yeah, if you want to, take some 1 a days or something. That's not enough.
Yeah, they're missing the mark on that. That's right. Exercise without supplementation is suicide, right?
That's correct. Yeah, and also dead athletes don't lie.
There it is. Well, Dr. Wallach, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. You are the salt of the earth, and we love you.
Oh, thank you. That's my favorite minerals are salt. Okay, so thank you, Travis.
There you go.
Thank you and your team. We appreciate you and all the great things you're doing for people in the world, because your Zoom is going out everywhere. How many countries do you think are watching your Zoom?
You know what? I did a call with Australia last week,
Mhm.
so I'm thinking I'm hitting a lot more of the Pacific Rim now. So we're
Oh, beautiful.
doing great things.
Thank
But
you so
I'm gonna
much.
unmute everyone so they can say bye to you. But thank you for being here, and we'll see you
Okay.
next time.
Okay, God bless.
Bye. God bless.
Thank you, Doc.